Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise and really get into the crucial insights from some compelling stories. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a case that's, well, it's fascinating, but also, frankly, a little unsettling. It's all about pretty significant fraud that happened in a place most of us think is, totally mundane, a car dealership.
Right. Not where you'd expect a complex scheme.
Exactly. And this isn't just some quick news headline. We see it as more of a window into human psychology, how easily trust can be played with, and the surprisingly simple methods behind some quite serious deceptions. Our look into this draws quite a bit from detailed accounts, including parts of Podvod v autosalonu, 18 miesięcy za mrzmi, which gives a really granular picture of what actually happened.
Yeah, and what's truly striking, I think, is how the specifics of this one situation, this one dealership, can actually shine a light on much bigger sort of universal patterns. We're talking about, how trust gets exploited, the subtle ways consumer behavior is manipulated, and, well, the consequences that often follow. So while the story is tied to a specific place and person, the themes underneath, they're relevant everywhere, really.
Yeah.
It shows why understanding the mechanics of these things is pretty important for all of us.
Absolutely. So, okay, our mission today is to properly unpack this story of Emma Fairbanks. We're going to look at how she systematically defrauded Škoda dealership in Stockport, look at the, well, deceptively simple methods she used, the actual scale of it all, and, yeah, the serious legal trouble she ended up in. Let's really dig into how a seemingly, ordinary sales advisor managed to pull off a pretty big fraud right under everyone's noses for, well, quite a while. Okay, so it starts with Emma Fairbanks. She's 32, working as sales advisor at this UK Škoda dealership in Stockport. Now, her job wasn't just, selling cars. It put her right at the center of things, customer interactions, money changing hands.
A position of trust.
Exactly. Think about it. The sales advisor is often the main face of the company, the person you spend the most time with when you're making a big buy. This role, this direct access, that became her stage, really. And her main method of fraud, the sort of cornerstone of it all. It was almost laughable simple, but incredibly effective.
Which was?
She just claimed the card machine was broken.
The classic. It makes you think, though, doesn't it? How often do we, as customers, just accept these little glitches? And how easily can that be, well, exploited? The genius of it, if you can call it that, is just how common it sounds.
Yeah, totally.
Most of us have been somewhere, a shop, a restaurant, where the card machine really is down. It's annoying, but, it happens. It doesn't immediately scream fraud.
Not at all.
Especially when you're already set on buying something big, like a car, and you're dealing with someone who seems totally legitimate, an employee of a known business. That basic trust, that assumption they're there to help you finish the deal, that's the weak spot.
It really is a perfect low-friction lie.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets, really bold. Once she'd convinced the customer the machine was out, Fairbanks didn't say, oh, let's wait, or let's use another till, or anything involving the dealership's proper channels. No. She skipped the dealership entirely. She asked customers to pay either in cash or, and this is the really striking part, via a direct bank transfer. Not to the dealership's account.
Oh, let me guess.
Straight into her own personal account.
Wow.
Just take a second on that. The sheer nerve, asking someone buying a car to wire money directly to your personal bank. What does that tell you? Confidence? Desperation? Maybe both?
It's pretty remarkable, yeah. Looking at the psychology, it just perfectly shows the power an employee can have in that kind of service setting. Fairbanks basically made herself the solution to the problem. She created the broken machine. As, an official staff member, she had that built-in authority, that credibility. Customers, they pick their car. Maybe they're feeling a bit put out by the delay. They just want the quickest way to finish up.
Yeah, get it done.
Exactly. And she gave them a path. A fraudulent one, but a path nonetheless. It wasn't like aggressive pressure. It was subtle, almost invisible, playing on convenience and that existing trust in the dealership itself. She was basically hijacking the company's reputation.
And this wasn't, a one-off thing, not a spur-of-the-moment idea. This carefully managed scheme went on for nearly a whole year.
A year? Wow.
Yeah, the fraud was active between June 2022 and May 2023. And over that time, Emma Fairbanks managed to rake in a really quite considerable amount, $21,987 birr.
22 grand. That's not insignificant,
Yep.
especially using just the broken machine line.
It's a lot. And to give you a clearer sense of the human side of it, this amount wasn't from like one or two big scams. It was carefully siphoned off from no fewer than 55 different customers. 55 separate people. Imagine each one walking in, trusting her with their payment, and then just having that trust completely systematically broken. That number really paints a picture of the scale, doesn't it?
It really does. And the fact it went on for 11 months, that's a key point, too.
Yeah.
It shows that it wasn't just, a single bad decision or one moment of weakness. This points to a consistent pattern, what the judge later nailed as determined dishonesty.
Determined?
Yeah. It took ongoing planning, careful execution day after day, and just a constant willingness to deceive people. It suggests she was systematically exploiting her job, a calculated approach, not something impulsive. That level of premeditation is quite chilling, actually.
Of course, like with many of these long cons, eventually things start to unravel. The cracks appear. So when the police got involved and eventually searched Fairbanks' home, they found some pretty compelling physical stuff. Evidence that really backed up the financial trail they were following.
Like what?
They found designer items, high-end handbags, and various holiday receipts. These weren't just random bits and pieces. They were tangible links, almost glaring signs pointing back to the money she'd been taking, like a little trail of breadcrumbs.
Right, the lifestyle evidence.
Exactly, and the investigation didn't just stop there. It also dug up another, maybe even more audacious, bit of fraud. Beyond the cash and the transfers, she'd also used one customer's personal details, get this, to pay for a £550 stay at a hotel.
Oh, wow. So identity theft on top of it all.
Yeah. That detail's important because it shows she was expanding her methods, moving beyond just diverting payments to actually using stolen info for her own direct benefit, pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, and what's interesting there is how those seemingly small luxuries, the bags, the holidays, the hotel, they provided such solid, undeniable links. Sometimes in fraud cases, money just vanishes into digital ether or gets laundered, making it really hard to trace. But here, the physical stuff created a clear, visible trail. It shifted the case from just numbers on a spreadsheet to actual tangible proof of where the money went.
Yeah.
Really strengthened the prosecution's hand, I imagine. It's almost a cliche how some people spend ill-gotten gains, but it happens.
So when it finally got to court, Fairbanks' defense lawyer tried to offer some context, some explanation. They argued she found it easy to commit the fraud and also that she was suffering from depression, anxiety, and deep loneliness, trying to paint a picture of personal struggle.
Right, and that brings up that really difficult question the legal system always grapples with, doesn't it? How do you balance holding someone accountable for what they did with understanding the complex personal stuff that might have been going on for them?
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's important to acknowledge those claims. Depression, anxiety, loneliness, they could be entirely genuine struggles she was facing. But legally speaking, personal difficulties, while they might make you feel empathy and maybe affect sentencing, they don't usually cancel out the responsibility for planned criminal acts.
Right.
It's that messy point where, human psychology bumps up against the clear lines of the law. You see it in a lot of these cases.
Ultimately, though, at Manchester Crown Court, Emma Fairbanks had to face the music for what she'd done over that long period. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts of fraud by false representation, a clear admission. And Judge Usher, who was hearing the case, sentenced her to 18 months in prison. Pretty decisive.
A firm sentence.
And Judge Usher's summary of what she did, it was pretty powerful, really got to the core of it. He described her actions as premeditated, sophisticated, determined dishonesty. That phrase just perfectly captures the calculated, long-term nature of it all, doesn't it? Makes it clear this wasn't just an impulse buy gone wrong.
Exactly. And connecting that to the bigger picture, the judge's statement, it goes way beyond just the cash, the £22,000. He specifically pointed out the ripple effect. Yes, the financial loss to the company, but also the really serious damage done to customer trust.
Yeah, that's huge.
And that erosion of trust, that's often much, much harder to fix than just paying back the money. It can really hurt a business's reputation, its relationship with customers, even just the general public's feeling about similar places. It's a strong reminder that fraud isn't ever just about the money. It fundamentally chips away at the trust we need for society, and especially commerce, to function.
So, okay, what is this whole story, this deep dive into Emma Fairbanks' fraud? What does it really mean for you listening right now? This isn't just some tale about one dealership in Stockport. It's a really potent reminder that even in places we think are ordinary, routine, trustworthy, deception can happen. And it does.
It pays to be aware.
It just highlights how important it is to keep a sort of healthy vigilance in our everyday dealings, always pause and question unusual payment requests, especially if it involves wiring money to a personal account or large cash payments for big-ticket items without proper paperwork. Your money, and maybe even more crucially, your trust. They're valuable. They deserve protecting. So, just to quickly recap what we've kind of unearthed today, we've looked at that interesting mix of, well, simplicity and calculation in Fairbanks fraud, how that basic broken card machine story let her operate for nearly a year.
Yeah, the sheer audacity of it.
We've seen the damaging impact, not just pounds and pence, but that vital customer trust. And of course, the very real consequences when someone abuses a position of power like that. It's a pretty stark lesson in how easily trust can be shattered, often using the most familiar, unassuming tricks.
And what's fascinating, maybe as a final thought, is how this single case, even happening now in our super techie world, really pulls us back to basics. It reminds us that while technology changes all the time, some of the most effective cons still rely on fundamental human psychology. Exploiting trust,
Totally.
the broken machine, the transfer to my personal account. These are tactics that are essentially as old as trade itself, just maybe dressed up slightly differently. They tap right into our wish for things to be easy and our default setting to trust people in professional roles.
Absolutely. So as you go about your day, maybe you're buying something, handling a payment, just consider this. How do you think businesses can actually best protect both their customers and themselves from these sorts of insider threats, especially when the main method is something as simple as asking for a different payment method?
It's a tough one.
It's a challenging question, isn't it? Definitely something for you to mull over until our next deep dive.